Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second Snap Take of the day. This is Glazer of the Snap Judgments Podcast, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone, and I've got two absolutely sick decks for you. Fair warning before we go any further, before we even talk about this giveaway, these are high series decks. These require you to have a lot of cards. They're both built around Legion, my current favorite card. I'm going to take a victory lap about that after the giveaway spiel, so just you wait. But if you are sick of high series decks, over on the Marvel Snap Zone YouTube, I released the top 5 Series 3 only decks. So if that's something that you are interested in, if that's something that you would like to see, please check out that video on Marvel Snap Zone. There's also a companion article that goes with that on marvelsnapzone.com. So because my regular viewers are going to riot, I'm going to timestamp the intro out for you. So you can skip the giveaway spiel if you're not interested in getting free stuff or you already know about the free stuff. I would like you to like and subscribe. We give you at least two, more likely more than two, given the way things have been going. Great brand new Marvel Snap decks every single weekday on the channel. This morning's video had 4 decks, two featuring Mirage, a Thanos deck that is not one you've seen before, and an amazing Master Mold Ronin deck that I'm having so much fun with and kicking all sorts of butt with. All of these are in this morning's video. You get all this kind of stuff for subbing every day. You sub, you like, you comment, you help us out with that YouTube algorithm. It's us against the machine, folks. Please hit us with that sub. We'd really, really appreciate it. The other thing we do, bluntly, I finally monetized this channel, and instead of taking any of the profits, I'm giving all of it back to you and more. We are giving away currently 6. We're almost at 7 season passes. Every 200 subs, we're giving away another season pass. So we are at 6, almost 7 season passes we are giving away next Monday. We are also giving 3 of those winners Marvel Snap Zone Premium, and I'm not going to explain all the benefits of that, but just let me tell you, it's amazing. You get free live coaching, exclusive articles, and all sorts of other amazing stuff. And you also have a chance. One grand prize winner is going to get the $75 Death Becomes Her bundle, which comes with an amazing death variant, and basically enough tokens, gold, and credits for a Series 5 card. So that is a one-person giveaway. Please check it out. We'd really, really appreciate the support. And we're trying to give back to the community. We're all about community here. All right. Owl God has won 2 tournaments with this deck that they have titled Captain Silk, and it is cool. I know that the second I talk about this deck, if Combat hasn't seen it before, he's freaking out. Combat Marvel Snap is another YouTuber you should check out, friend of ours. He is the only person I know who plays Negasonic absolutely constantly. I think this is probably the best Negasonic deck ever. This deck does a lot of things. It's really kind of built around abusing Legion and Craven. So you've got the early combo of like if you get Nebula out with like I don't know Silk, and then you play a good 3. You say play Jeff on Silk, or you play Craven on Silk, and then you can drop Storm and Miles, and then Legion. That just wins you a certain number of games, right? Legion's going to close out that game. Everything is stormed. You've dropped Nebula, however big she gets. Let's call her a 5 for argument's sake. You've dropped Silk. Well, she's a 5. You've dropped Miles a 5, Legion an 8. And if you've got Craven out, hopefully some of these are hitting Craven to make him like a 4 or 6, and then you can still drop Jeff on that last turn, and like you just win. The game ends. You're amazing, super powerful. You should check it out. We're going to talk another deck with literally that exact same game plan that I think is a little more effective and all in built around it. This tournament deck, however, does a lot of other cool things. You can, on 1, Nebula, and on 2, you're deciding between Daredevil and Craven. Craven is your priority. A lot of what you're planning to do here is play your cards like Silk, Jeff, and Captain Marvel away from Craven so that they can, if it wins the game, by the end of the game, move on to that and give Craven extra power so that you can win a lane that didn't look contestable. Craven can often end up with 6, 8 more power in this deck. Think Angela during the Kitty Pryde season, and that's a really great card. Daredevil is here largely because turn 5 is such a huge and variable turn for this deck. On turn 5, you're basically deciding to, you're basically deciding to play Negasonic in a 2-drop. You can play Negasonic and Silk, Negasonic and Jeff, Craven, whatever. If that's going to kill one of their big things, like let's say they're going to drop a Devil Dinosaur, Negasonic can do that job for you. You can drop Captain Marvel and start getting set up for your win. You can drop Legion if you think that the way they're playing a certain location is going to ruin their life. Let's say they're going to put 3 cards in a location and there's the squirrel location, right? Now you can drop Legion and fill that. You have all of these options, and Daredevil opens up to let you know exactly which choice to make. Enchantress is here. Enchantress does a great job. Enchantress is here because at the end of the game, you want to be playing Captain Marvel, Legion, or Magneto, not Shang-Chi, and that's when Shang-Chi is useful. Enchantress, because Zabu is in the meta, because there's a lot of earlier ongoings like Wong in the meta, has more value sooner in the game, and thus can be played earlier as also just a higher power card. The deck is built around Miles being a 1-drop. That 1-drop can be played on on turn 3 with another 2-drop. Like let's say you played Silk, they played a card on Silk, Silk moved. You can spend turn 3 dropping Jeff, Daredevil, and Miles. That works totally fine. Turn 4 is very often going to be Negasonic Enchantress or Storm. You can also just play 2/2s. Turn 5, again, you've got that big decision point. You're going to have to learn to read the board and read the deck. And finally, you have Magneto at the end. Magneto is here as a top end, largely because the meta is full of Darkhawk Good Stuff decks. And very often, those are 1, not filling up the board, and 2, piling up a lot of power with cards like Darkhawk, Korg, Darkhawk, Rock Slide, Iron Lad, so on. If you can take those to an empty lane or a lane you've already lost altogether, it's much, much easier to win those other lanes. Also, Magneto pulling all those over will further buff your Craven. This deck is an absolute beauty of synergy. It has already won 2 tournaments, including this Sunday's tournament that Kawa ran. Kawa obviously being a phenomenal tournament organizer and content creator, who's just a really cool person by all accounts and seemingly that I like a lot. You should play this deck. This deck is sick. I promise. My version of this deck is the next deck. This is Legion Hawk. This is the version I put together while I was on vacation in Mexico, so I was unable to make a video of it. But I posted it on my Twitter. The Twitter you can see on the screen right above me. It is at SnapJudgeCast. This deck has been winning people has won through gold multiple times. It's been winning infinite decks for people like Skitty, for people in our chat, for people in Fozzer's group that saw it when I shared it, that have asked me what I'd do with Legion, because I was like the only person who was like, I'm buying Legion no matter what. This card is too cool. It does something no one else does. I can find a use for it. I've been telling everyone for months that Quake is amazing. Legion is like Quake on steroids. Legion is absolutely incredible. So this deck is fundamentally built around the Legion combo. The Legion Storm combo. You want to see that as much as possible, but that is not the only way this deck wins. This deck does a really good job of pulling off that Storm combo, largely because America's in the deck, and it wins the game basically almost always when it does. It's really, really good at getting ahead. I had Shang in here for a minute, and I was like, I'm just not behind. Because, like, you've got a Sunspot gaining power, right? And then you can, when you've got, like, a Silk on the board, or you early play a Rock Slide or Darkhawk, because you can early play Darkhawk if you're closing off the game on turn 5, right? All of these cards add so much power that you're like always ahead on that lane, and then like you've got Sunspot to gain the full 6 that last turn, or to gain 4 if you want to play Jeff that last turn also. Iron Lad works as a backup Legion amazingly, but you can also just play an honest game of Snap. Storm works really well with Darkhawk. Very rarely do opponents Shang-Chi into that Storm lane, right? And Darkhawk is just a lot of power. You're dropping 12 power at least into that Storm lane, more if you include Sunspot. And then you have the rest of the game. You still really want to play Legion on 5 where possible, unless you've stormed Darkhawk in 1 lane. Then you're probably not playing Legion till 6, if at all. You're only playing Legion on 6 then if you're playing him with Core, because 10 is more than America's 9. I really, I'm going to be totally honest, because of that Storm Darkhawk combo, the other thing I'd really like to add in this deck that I can't actually figure out how to add is She-Hulk, because one of the cooler plays you can make is, especially if you have Sunspot out, is skip 5 and on 6, Legion and She-Hulk, and that closes out a lot of games with magic everywhere. I'm not sure what the cut is I've been going back and forth. I might end up just finally sucking it up and cutting Korg, but then like my Darkhawk combos are worse, and I really like that disruption that Korg provides on one. I don't know exactly where that goes, but I know that She-Hulk belongs here, but so does America to thin the deck. Every deck card is important. An honest game would look something like Korg into Zabu into Rock Slide, right? Like you can Korg Zabu Rock Slide, then you can play Iron Lad and Sunspot, drop a Legion, and spend your last turn on, say, Darkhawk and Miles, or if you got a Jeff out anywhere in there, a Silk and Miles, so on and so forth. That's an honest game plan that wins a lot of games. That's very similar to the game plan of the original Stature Hawk list, right? The Safety Blade Stature Hawk list. So you still have that option. You can also do the other thing where you go something like Sunspot into Silk or Jeff into Storm and Darkhawk. And then you play hopefully you get a move off so you can get a cheap Miles, right? And then on turn 5 you would go like Miles and Iron Lad, right? Or on turn 6 you can go Miles and Legion if you got that move off then. If the move was Jeff or Silk and you can basically guarantee it, that's a 13 power last turn. Not top of the line, but enough to win a lot of games when you've already won one lane, right? Um, there's options with this deck. This deck has been printing infinite tickets for people. I've been kicking all sorts of butt with it. I hope you'll try it out. I hope you'll sub. I hope you'll like. I hope you'll comment. I hope you'll come back tomorrow because I've got a busted, like 85% win Thanos deck for you in the morning. See you tomorrow. Peace.